Picture this. You're standing in front of a decision, maybe a job opportunity, a relationship conversation, a boundary that you know you need to set, but a chance to choose differently. And you feel this invisible pull inside you. It's not fear, it's not confusion, it's not even hesitation. It's something older. It's something familiar. It's the voice of a version of you that you don't even identify with anymore. But you realize that it's still present and it's the one making the call. And in a split second, you catch yourself thinking, why am I still choosing the old me? You feel the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. And that gap is where identity lives. This is part 3 of our agency series, and today we're going to talk about that gap. Because once agency is awakened and once self-trust begins rebuilding, there's a third shift that hits you like a truth that you've been avoiding. Nothing changes until your identity changes. Nothing. Not habits, not relationships, not standards, not boundaries, not your future. Identity is the operating system behind your life, and most people never update it. Agency wakes you up, self-trust steadies you, but identity transforms you. Think about your transformation thus far. If you've been watching this series, in part 1, we opened our eyes. We realized that we're not powerless and that we have a say in our lives. In part 2, we reconnected with our own voice. We learned that we can trust what we know and that we don't have to abandon ourselves. And part 3 is different. And it's different because it asks you a question that most people have been avoiding their entire life. Who are you becoming and who is still running your life? Because identity is not a label. It's not what you call yourself. It's not a personality type or an Enneagram number. It's not your zodiac sign. Pisces, stand up. Identity is the internal rules that you live by, the silent agreements that you made with you. It's the unconscious expectations that you follow every day. It's the boundaries you enforce or don't, the standards you uphold or don't. It's the limits that you defend without questioning. And the thing is, those that fight for their limitations get to keep them. Identity is the code you didn't know you installed. And if you don't rewrite it, you will automatically, unconsciously recreate the very life you're trying to outgrow. Yes, even with agency, even with healing, even with awareness, because the old you is still writing the script. I once knew someone who was promoted into a leadership role. It was a role she earned, worked for, prayed about, dreamed about. She walked into the job excited, confident, and ready. But the first week, she began to notice something strange. Whenever she needed to speak up in meetings, she'd hesitate. Whenever she had a bold idea, she'd shrink down. Whenever someone questioned her decision, she would apologize immediately. One day, her mentor asked her, "Hey, why are you still acting as if you don't belong in the room?" Her response was, "I'm just trying to not make anyone uncomfortable." Mentor said, "Where did that rule come from? Did I tell you you shouldn't be making people uncomfortable?" And she froze because the rule didn't come from the job. No one instructed her to be passive. It didn't come from leadership. It didn't come from her present moment at all. It came from childhood, from being told to lower her voice, to be polite, don't rock the boat, and hey, make sure you don't take up too much space. And that identity kept her safe. It helped her survive. It got her through. And while that might have served her in a moment, now she's living a future with rules written by the past version of herself. She sat back and said, "I'm living a new life with an old identity." Most people are. And if we're honest, we've done it too. We're not just gonna put her out there. But we've walked into bigger seasons still following smaller rules. We've walked into rooms built for growth while still obeying rules that we built for our own survival. And that's the identity gap. And the thing I want to tell you is that your past identity wasn't a failure, it was a shield. The version of you that kept you stuck wasn't the bad you. It wasn't the weak you, the broken you. They were the protector. They were the ones that kept you alive, that kept you stable, kept you functioning in environments that didn't support who you were becoming. They wrote rules like don't ask for too much, don't be too loud, play it safe, stay grateful, don't take risks, keep everyone happy, work until you're empty. If nobody believes in you, then maybe they're right. Don't be too confident, stay small so you don't get hurt. But none of those rules were meant to grow you, not a single one. They were meant to protect you. But the truth is, a survival identity cannot build a future. It can only maintain the past. And the problem here is, sometimes the very rules that once protected us now become the very things that suffocate us. That's how you know you're evolving. You just don't fit inside your old life anymore. You ever been there where this used to be okay? Where I'm at used to be okay. The job that I'm in, it used to be okay. This relationship, it used to be okay, but now I just don't get it anymore. It's because you are outgrowing your baby clothes. And a lot of times we try to do our best within the parameters, which is honorable. But a cage doesn't stop being a cage just because you decorated it. And there are identities that we've worn for so long that they feel like skin, but they're not you anymore. Maybe you're outgrowing the overthinking identity, the self-doubt identity, the I'll change it later identity, the peacemaker at all costs identity, the self-sacrificing identity, the I don't deserve it identity, the I'm not ready yet identity, the identity that you always mess things up. And these identities that once felt safe are now feeling heavy, tight, draining, and restrictive. And you're watching me and you say, okay, Smalls, I hear you, but how do I know for sure when I've outgrown an identity? You know you've outgrown your identity when it costs more energy than it gives. It keeps you looping instead of growing. It protects you, but it also limits you. It feels familiar, but not aligned. It no longer matches your vision. It keeps you in the passenger seat of your own life. And if you're in a place where you feel that you're outgrowing your identity, know that outgrowing your identity, it isn't betrayal, it's growth. It's becoming. And in our becoming, we begin to realize that our identity is the real driver of every decision we make. You don't choose from potential, you choose from identity. Your habits follow your identity, your standards follow your identity, boundaries, patterns, actions, and ultimately your future. And every choice answers one question: who am I right now? Because you don't see things as they are, you see things as you are, and you make decisions from that place. If your identity says you're overwhelmed, you will choose overwhelm. If your identity says you're the person that everyone depends on, you're naturally going to overextend. If your identity says that you don't deserve more, guess what, baby? You gonna settle. An identity doesn't ask, what do I want? It actually asks, what am I used to? But the moment you update that software, the moment you update your identity, your decisions update themselves. You don't force alignment, you become the person that naturally flows with it. You naturally choose it. So how do we write new internal rules? Because if the rules don't change, your life doesn't change. You begin to rewrite the internal rules by changing the words that you're speaking every day. And the words you speak begin to work on the belief system. So you have to flip that coin when these thoughts come up. Let's say the old rule is don't disappoint people. That could become, I choose what aligns even if others don't approve. The old rule, I have to earn rest. That becomes, rest is a requirement for the life that I'm building. Old rule, you're not the type of person that follows through. New rule, I follow through because I trust myself now. Old rule, your voice doesn't matter. New rule, the truth leads my life. Old rule, I need permission. New rule, I am the permission. And identity shifts aren't affirmations, they are internal agreements. They become the new laws that you live by. And the last thought I want you to get is that the survival identity reacts, the intentional identity creates. Survival identity, don't take risks, stay small, keep the peace, don't be seen too much, don't make waves. Versus the intentional identity, my life responds to my standards. I build with purpose. I choose alignment over comfort. The future I'm building matters, and I get to design who I'm becoming. Whenever the survival identity asks, what if this goes wrong? The intentional identity asks, what if this is who I was meant to be in the first place? That's the moment your future expands. Repeat after me. I'm not who I used to be. I am not run by the old rules anymore. Because when identity changes, agency becomes natural. Self-trust becomes automatic. Boundaries become normal. Alignment becomes instinct. And your future becomes bigger than your past. This is the identity rebirth. This is the moment you stop playing by the old rules and start living by intentional design. If you enjoyed that video, go ahead and put in the comments, I'm throwing out the old rules. And always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you. And I'll see you on the next one.